Hey guys, here's the gear. We are continuing on with the Borathon with this 1250 from Semogue. It's the Excelsior line, the one that's been around for several years now. We're going to be using the 16, a UK Gillette Aristocrat number 16, and inside of it we'll put the blade we used yesterday, the Gillette 7 o'clock black, which is the super platinum, and Mammoth Embrace in the Tusk base is the soap for today. It's kind of got a woodsy scent. And this is the first time that I don't know if I'm going to really latch on to a mammoth scent. Well, Mood Indigo had a kind of surprisingly a pepper note that it kind of messed it up for me a little bit. And Embrace, I think it's meant to be very comforting with its woodiness, where you just kind of feel at home, like if you ever had a cabin in the woods or something, maybe like that you can find some common ground with this particular soap. And the Tusk base is tremendous. Now the 66, a couple of quick identification notes for you. It's got a solid handle. It's kind of rounded a little bit right there. You can also see how it is. There's a difference in the gap there. There's a from the handle, there's a dip down, and then the knob here is thicker than the handle. And with the 15 and the 21 and those kind of things, it's a straight handle that just has a flat, unknurled area right there. Where this one, kind of in a rocket type feature, moves in and out. The other one doesn't. Also, we have the solid or flat base plate here. We know it's not a 15, or probably not a 15 because of the handle, but almost all 15s are not solid bar. So this one's a solid bar. If it was a 15, no, never, we won't go down that rabbit hole. And I guess that's really about all that we need to know about it. It's a great little medium to slightly milder than medium razor, and I think I'm going to have fun putting the super platinum in there. I think maybe this is the 7th use of the Gillette 7 o'clock black. And let me, about 24-hour growth we're dealing with today. All right, I've gotten my face wet, and Embrace, look at this one. Boy, it really has shrunk, right? Now, one of the problems that you can have is you'll get some water trapped in there, and so that can affect your soap a little bit sometimes. And so I'm going to scoop this, and I have another motive to do that is if it doesn't dazzle me. There are just so many good soaps out there. You know, odds are I would enjoy using this soap if I, quarter teaspoon here, if I was stuck somewhere and needed to, I would just enjoy using this. Definitely enjoy the performance. But there are just so many good scents out there that I enjoy that even if it's from a great maker like Ben at Mammoth, and even if it's a wonderful lather that it gives me in terms of performance, if it's not a scent that I'm just super drawn to, then I think it's just best to pass it on to somebody who will enjoy it. And if you want the description about the notes and stuff, feel free to check out, wipe a little bit of this excess soap on my face, check out the description of the video. So I've got my Roger Quintero 3D printed lather bowl here, and we will pretty much an even quarter teaspoon here. The things that I like about a soap base that also just apply to this one so well is that it is a base that takes a lot of water. It's kind of soft, pretty soft here. As I'm pressing it down, I'm gonna because it's soft, some of the little chunks can come loose, and you don't want that. Unless it's really soft, in which case they're going to get combined into the lather kind of by default. They don't have to be fastened to the bottom of the bowl. But if it's mid-range, then if a chunk floats free, and then it never, because it's never really agitated by the brush, because there's so much floating going on, then it can potentially last the whole shave and not get integrated into the lather. I think that's probably good enough. So there's what a quarter of a teaspoon looks like. And what I like about the Mammoth base is the Tusk base is it just takes a lot of water, as much as you want to dish out. It stays proper, even if it's, oh, you know what? Let's continue. Last time I used my normal method of coming in with a lightly wet brush, just like what you see me doing now. This is how I'd go in. But I've been doing differently a series here with dry loading. Let's try that today. Now, in this case, we're not dry loading because we're not loading right from the soap. So maybe it will make a difference, but hey, data is data, right? Let's just see what happens. This is the 1250 Boar brush from Semogue. Oh, that is a nice scent. Sometimes woodsy scents are a little problematic for me. If it's got too much fir or spruce, a certain kind of scent like that, I just don't enjoy it for some reason. Pine, I grew up around pine trees. It's just not my thing. So here's my Borathon chart, and the 1250 is, now see I'm doing too many things with too few hands. The Semogue 1250 is right there, and you can see that we still need to give him his 26th use, and then he's going to be caught up with the rest of the Borathon brushes, and then I'll be able to fill in the blanks with the 27th use of all these others. As you can see, I'm continuing to give hair dryer treatments to the ones that have already reached the 27th use. And so I expect once we get there to see some big changes in how these brushes are feeling. So with the lack of water, this is feeling very pasty. I can feel the drag on the brush. So once I kind of feel like I've done all I can, go ahead and add. What notes are coming across right now other than the woodsiness? Not too much else that I can perceive at the moment. And with that water addition, you can see it bubbling up just a little bit, and we're gonna easily be able to integrate all that water into the lather, and we'll be adding more, I'm sure, in a little bit. Just outside enjoying a lunchtime cigar. And it was kind of a mix. It was bittersweet because I discovered it was a nice one in terms of taste. I really enjoyed the flavor, and it's just like $1.30, kind of in a cheapo sampler that I got from an online retailer. And I really did enjoy the flavor quite a bit, and so I think, oh hey, great daily. That's a great daily option, right? But man, it had such an uneven burn. It was so slow. Trying to draw through it was really tough, so it was a bit of a mix. But I tell you what, even if it's a bit problematic, where I had to relight and touch up and all that, the taste kind of made it enjoyable anyway. So I guess that's the answer to that question. For me, can a good tasting cigar counteract annoyances with lighting and that kind of thing? And the answer is yes. And it wasn't super special in taste, but it just kind of had that tobacco taste that I kind of expect that I hope to get. And so that made it, every once in a while, that smoke that's wafting up, when you're not actually puffing on it, sometimes that's often more intense and a different kind of flavor than what you actually get in your mouth. At least it seems that way. And the last couple cigars I've smoked, I've actually enjoyed that kind of almost an incense style where it's wafting around you quite a bit. And that really does help. I didn't know that was going to be a fun part of smoking cigars. And in that sense, it's kind of like shaving. I've got this aroma here of this nice woody scent wafting around me, and it changes the experience, right? So we can expect to add more water than average for the Mammoth base here than my usual average, since we started out with a brush that had less water in it. This is a light Boar brush. It's got very easy flow through. It holds a lot of lather because there's plenty of space between those bristles. Not very dense. If you want lots of backbone and density, this is the opposite of the kind of brush that you're going to like. And then it's going to get even softer once we start getting these tips to split more. A few have already, but we want more. We want lots and lots of split tips. Scent-wise, it's pleasant. Oh, there is something else in there. It's almost like a sweet berry or something, but it's very minimal. You almost could miss it, but I think it's helping to level out the woodiness. It's not quite so resinous. And what jumps to my mind is that's kind of what Ben does at Mammoth. He so often will just mix the scents together so artfully, and it's so cool that we've got some soapers in our hobby that are that way. And I really enjoy so many of the scents that he brings to the table. So what maybe he's done here is take some of the woodiness that I might normally not really enjoy all that much. I mean, because after all, a lot of makers have an outdoorsy cabin in the woods. That's even a name of something, one from somebody. It's a common theme, right? But a good soaper is going to mix something common. It's with something slightly different so that you get the familiarity of something you might enjoy, but then there's a little nuance to it that makes you appreciate it in a different way. Yeah, there's definitely. Now my first thought is some kind of red berry, cranberry, pomegranate, something like that. I could be totally off base. It could be something totally different. But it does seem like there's a little note in there. And sometimes when a scent has some creativity put to it that kind of hits me in a weird way and really makes me appreciate what the soaper has done. And look at that. That's a quarter of a teaspoon, and I've got tons of lather. So Mammoth is a nicely economical soap. I don't have to use a quarter teaspoon if I don't want to. And I can still get plenty of lather. Let's pull it up and see how he behaves. Oh yeah, look at that. I think we better stop because we don't want him to get too thin. Although a soft brush like this, it's not too bad if you overhydrate your lather. Those stiff brushes can be kind of aggravating if you overhydrate because they feel more prickly. They feel more stiff than they really are. Well, I guess maybe I should say they feel just as stiff as they are. A creamy lather can mitigate that stiffness and that prickliness. And then the lather doesn't protect your face from the bristles at all in that case, if the lather's too thin. Very light feel on the face. So if you've got sensitive skin that's prone maybe to brush burn or irritation, the synthetics might be a good place to go, especially the Motherlode knot. And of course, the 3-band badgers are very soft and kind to your skin. But if you want to try a Boar, then this is a highly suggested one for that. And it's cheap too. This little guy, he's cheap. Now the 1250 did change, right? From the best grade of Boar bristle to extra. if you buy it now, you'll get the Hereditas version most likely, unless you get some slightly older stock from on a retailer, you know. And I think the extra grade is not nearly as kind to your face as this one. So, oh yeah, see, look at that. That lather looked almost like I should quit adding water, but as you can see here, it could take more. That looks terrific. Anyway. All right, so stepping back in time to the razor from long ago in the UK, a great plating job that the UK Gillette did back then. Now I'm using about a 45-degree angle here, and I just kind of quickly arrived at that, and I feel like it keeps the razor from being quite so being as scrapey. It backs off on the scrapiness just a touch. This is definitely not a I think some people might call it a mild razor, but I don't think it is. I think it's kind of mid-range. With a lot of razors, I might have a smaller handle angle there, more like, 35 degrees or something like that. But I just like the way the blade feels more at the 45-degree angle with this particular shave. And this is a blade that sometimes is a little edgy for me, kind of like a feather sometimes might be. But it's a super comfortable first pass. And that same scent I was talking about with the woods and the slight hint of, something. I'm dying to look at the description and find out. I haven't looked it up yet. And so in a sense, I'm glad, because this is a blind experience. I'm very curious to see what that is. And a little bit of water now. Scent of either fir or pine or, whatever it is that he's using for the woods. It's definitely there, but it's not overwhelming at all. Sometimes those scents do kind of have a cumulative nature, and it may not start out as irritating in the beginning of the shave, but you just kind of, you keep getting hit with it. I know that happened with me with Martin de Condre vetiver. I just kind of got tired of it after using it over and over. And I do have the matching balm on here, and for this scent, and I know that Mammoth balms are very good. Where did I put that razor? There it is. So now cross grain, and with that kind of medium nature, I expect that we have taken down so much of the stubble, and I'm just barely feeling anything right now. It's a wonderful, very comfortable, smooth shave here because of the efficiency of that first pass. So while this blade could potentially be a little edgy in this razor, especially at first, I'll bet after, around 10 uses or maybe slightly before it, it gets very friendly as it has continued to smooth out just bit by bit. Yeah, I could definitely just walk away from the shave right now if I wanted, and I bet most jobs wouldn't have a problem with the closeness. Um, the only thing there may be bits down here that could be problematic, but they may actually not be there at all. All right, another kind of half rinse. All right, so we'll charge up the brush again. I definitely haven't been having a problem at all with the wetness of the lather, and so I'm leaving my face kind of wet and it's just doing great. No irritation. With this brush, you see I'm not having to do any of that kind of rolling the lather around if I don't want to, because I don't really need to worry too much about circulating the lather in the brush, because it's just, it's so, it has such great flow through. Nice soft touch to the face, this brush. It's not going to give you any kind of razor burn. And he's just at, like I said, 25 so uses. And the only thing I've done so far to break in is just some long soaks before the shave. 30 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. And we're ready with this 16. If it looks exactly like this, but it has a diamond shaped bevel here on the base plate, you know, triangle when looked at it from this side and a triangle over here combining to kind of be a diamond, then that is the 66. And he is more common and costs less. And I believe he shaves very, very similarly, which means that if you don't want to spend the money to get a 16, I think I've seen the 66s, you know, often go for half or even better than half of what the cost might be for a 16. And it's still a gorgeous razor. And there we go. And if I feel like I want to do a little kind of touch up in this area, so for the second and third passes, this razor blade in this razor really shines. And now I'm just kind of feeling my face. Yeah, that's a terrifically close shave. So I think this is a very, very nice blade for this razor. And it does, you do feel a little bit more of the edge in the first pass, but you know, I'm kind of touchy on that, and so most guys may not even say that. Very good, very good. So the scent, like I said, yeah, I could easily use this on a daily basis and really enjoy it. I think it was genius of him to incorporate whatever those little supporting notes are. Am I thinking mossiness is coming to my mind, and so maybe there's a hint of that in there, but I don't think it's that kind of a lightly gentle fruity scent. And like I said, it's just the barest hint of a fruitiness. You're definitely not gonna want to avoid this if you don't like fruity scents, because that's not at all what's going on. It's primarily, you know, outdoor woodsiness, and he's just helping to mute the resinousness or the something and calm it down a little bit with make it more kind. And indeed, he's going for embrace here, and so evoking those senses of home, and so a some type of a light scent like that, the woodiness, the fruitiness, or that lightly, I don't know, that would tend to take it and help the woodiness to be more embrace it more, help to be more comfortable and with the scent, you know, instead of just pure woods. So that's right along the line of, I think, what he was trying to do with this, with the naming of this scent and with his efforts toward it. And as always, another great thing about Mammoth, a portion of the proceeds when you buy Mammoth products go toward the human trafficking. And that's why he went with the elephant as his mascot, as his motif. It's the elephant in the room. The human trafficking, he believes, and I believe too, is a huge problem, and a lot of people aren't doing anything about it. And so it's the elephant in the room, as the idiom goes. All right, let's get a good rinse now. Nice, refreshing, cool water rinse here. And yeah, the kind of the woodiness nature here of what's around me now, that little sweet note has backed off because it's so subtle that when the lather's no longer in front of me, I don't really pick it up as much. And so, yeah, I did plan on using the Embrace balm, but now that I think about it, in order to kind of help its salability, I think I'm not going to use it today because I don't think that the Embrace is a scent that, like I said, matches me very well in terms of its woodiness. I could definitely see it going with all kinds of things. What shall I put on here? Hey, let's keep with the woody vibe thing. I have a face that's really comfortable, no irritation or anything like that. I've got a nice close cut, really happy with the cut. Let's keep with woods, with Whiskey Woods from Clubman. I do enjoy this one a good bit. This is the size you get when you make an Amazon purchase. I don't know why I expected it to be a little bigger based on the photos, but I did. But I mean, it's lasting forever. And it does have the sting of an alcohol-based aftershave, of course. But I really do like the scent here. And I know several of you guys do too. I definitely remember some responses with guys who really enjoyed this one as well. And it's not very expensive, and there's a chance if you explore your beauty supply stores, especially the larger ones, there's a chance they might have this guy in stock. And most of the time, there will be some Pinaud products. You may even be lucky enough to have them have some little sample bottles like this. This is Gent's Gin, and this is a little 1.7 ounce, 50 milliliter bottle. And it's a great way to try out because you get several uses, a lot of uses out of that little bottle. So you make sure you like a scent. Oh yeah, that's going, of course, that's a great matchup. And it brings some neat notes to the party that I enjoy. And so it's definitely converting the scent into something I look forward to smelling. The other one obviously wasn't, bad by any means. It just wasn't quite as enjoyable for me. So there we go with the 1250. I can now put a little check mark where he has now come up to 26 count like all the rest of the boars in the list. My friend Buzz just, I saw his alert on a recent video where I was using the 1250, and I replied back to him and said, I'm about to shave with it right now. It'll take a few days to air. That's what I told him, and which is true, of course. And so it's fun. That's why I've been doing the 1250 because it was behind the other ones. And now that he's kind of caught up, I'll be able to play around. Just in case you're curious, other brushes in the Boarathon here, my so-called Boarathon. We've got two Omegas, the 20102 and the 80266. We've got two Zeniths, the B10 and the B23. The Sterling Boar, that's a dense little stiff bugger. I can't wait to get the hairdryer on that, see what he turns into. And then the rest are Semogues, the Torga C5, the legendary Semogue Owners Club, the 2000, the 1800, 1438, little guy, the 1305, and the 1250, which was today's. So that's what's coming up. I'm definitely going to be using some Badgers as well in the future, and that's another of the reasons I decided to use an aggressive break-in like the hairdryer treatment. I hope it's not too aggressive. Was because I all of a sudden realized that it was going to take years and years to get this dozen boar brush rotation to the magical boar place where we've got lots of split tips. And life's too short for that. And if a method fails, then so be it. But this hairdryer method does seem to be working pretty well. This is a guy I'm going to treat aggressively. And these bristles on the Omega seem to be splitting nicely. And so I think this guy will turn from a prickly brush into something very nice. We've got some 4 splits in some cases, so looking forward to seeing what he becomes. I'm also going to have to go through him and find the really prickly hairs that are maybe in backwards and cut those out. That's a kind of step 2. All right, well, there we go. Nice woodsy feel on today's shave. The lather was pretty much perfect. And 31 milliliters of water used. So like I said, this base can take plenty of water, and it still wasn't watered down. It holds its own. It stays together even when it gets on the thinner side. I didn't get to that far this time, but let me tell you, it does. And then if you keep it more on the creamy side, then it works really well too. So it's very flexible, and it doesn't feel too oily or lotiony for me. I know he put some ingredients in there to help with your skin health, but I don't think he went overboard at all, like a couple of the other makers have to, just in my preference, you know. And so I like his kind of slickness that he has with the Tusk base. So there we go. Yeah, I'm a Mammoth fanboy because it just so happens that a lot of the scents that he develops are right up my alley. So we must have similar tastes in that regard. And then he's got a performance for his soaps that I love as well. That matches the kind of slickness that I like, the kind of really hydrated but still creamy, kind of perfect zone there that I do prefer. So great use of the 1250 today. A small little brush. If you want to explore with Boar brushes and you like softness and easy splay, this is a great place to start. Remember, brand new, he might eat through some lathers. It's the way most Boar brushes do. And you just have to use him some, and he'll quit that in 5 to 10 uses, probably. This is the best grade, and the extra grade is the new one if you buy the Hereditas version. This is the Excelsior. You can see by the word Excelsior. This is the Excelsior line that they have. All right, well, there we go. Great shave. I believe I covered everything, and the Explorer Balm from Zingari Man would have been another great one. So thank you for joining me so much. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I wish you all the best. Take care now.